Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and today it is time for another Monday Musings. This past week was slow, which I expected, so no surprise there. But it was my husband's birthday weekend, so he took Friday off, and we went up the opposite direction from the big city that is near us. We went the opposite direction to hit another city to kind of see what little free libraries were up there, just somewhere different, because we've been hitting the same little free libraries. I had a huge box to unhaul. I did unhaul some books, but the little free libraries up there were actually a big disappointment. But the day itself was really great. We ended up finding this like antiques mall and spent quite a bit of time in there. They had a lot of books, which I was surprised by. I wasn't expecting a bunch of books, but like every room you went in, there was like piles of books and then like some bookcases and such. And then it was a big area, and so like we went back, and then there was like a wall of books and such. So there was a lot of books, and we spent a lot of time in there. And then we wanted to hit. There was a bookstore I wanted to hit, a little used bookstore. So we hit that, and there was a bookstore next to it as well, which was great. So I found the Bookwoman's Daughter by Michele Richardson, which I had read the Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek like a while back and really, really loved it. And so I've been keeping my eye out for that book, and I've never come across it. And I happened to find it there. So that was great. And then in the other little bookstore, I got The Tale of Genji, which is a classic I'm really interested in reading. And I also found the Divine Comedy, all three books. They're in really rough shape, but I found all three. I've only ever read the second one, so I'm really excited to have all three, and I can read the full Divine Comedy now. I also found Rebecca at the Antiques Mall, which I've been keeping my eye out, but the editions I've come across, I'm just like, nah, I don't really like it. And so I finally found an edition that I like, and so I just snagged that as well. And so yeah, it was pretty successful as far as like hitting the antique store and like the different bookshops and such, but the little free libraries were a bust. I still have half my totes. There weren't as many, and they just weren't like there wasn't room to put some in. Like there was like a kids one. I put a couple kids books, even though I didn't really take anything out of it. But yeah, it was kind of a bust. So we're gonna go back to our normal little free libraries to unhaul the rest of those. But we definitely want to go back up because I had wanted to also hit this thrift store that had a bunch of books and completely forgot about it. We were driving out. He's like, "Oh, didn't you want to hit?" And I was like, "At this point, like we just need to find food and get home for the pups." And so we'll definitely have to go back and hit the stores we weren't able to. But it was a great day, and we found this little like Asian restaurant to eat at, and it was okay. Um, the I got like orange chicken, and it was like the chicken was like jerky, but the flavors were really good. And so yeah, it was a nice day. And then Saturday we went and had dinner with his mom and his sister at a place that's local to us that we only go for special occasions because they have the best French onion soup, which I shouldn't have cheese, but I'm willing to suffer for the soup. And he doesn't like onion, but he loves the soup. And so, yeah, we went there and had a nice meal with all of them. And then, of course, Sunday was Easter. Happy Easter if you celebrate. I was exhausted. I'm like, nope, I'm down for the count. 2 days in a row, I've been out and about. And plus, the week before, I went into town a couple times because I sold a couple of eBay books. So it was a lot of leaving the house this past week. So I've been exhausted. Yesterday I just rested, read, and then today I actually ended up sleeping in quite a bit, and I'm still just kind of bleh. So yeah, it was a good, really good weekend though. And so as far as reading wise, there's one book we got a lot of progress made in. I ended up we did find a book in a little free library that I got for him because I figured he would be interested in it, and I'm the one that's reading it right now. But let's go ahead and just start with the book. I finished one book this week, and this one took me way too long. That was The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. This was so it is Aurelium, of course, and so I'm doing my 3 callings. This one was for my God Seer calling. The class was astronomy, and its galactic outskirts, top of shelf physically or of TBR. So I went top of shelf physically, which behind you is my classic shelves, which I need to redo, which is why I was looking up there when I was talking about the books I got, because they're up there. And so this one was I have books, vertically, and then I have stacks of books on top of those books, and this one was on top of one of those stacks. I read The Island of Dr. Moreau by this author, and I absolutely loved it. So I had high hopes for this one. I was not a fan of this. I really struggled with the writing. It was very pretentious, and I just really didn't enjoy that. And so in the beginning, you have um, like the narration is of somebody who's talking about the time traveler. And then you switch to the time traveler telling his story of going, to the year, what was it, 802,701. And so that I was like really struggling. Like, I'm not even kidding you. So I read 25 pages like the first day of the month or something. And then I tried to read it I think I tried to read it Saturday before we went to the restaurant, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, I read the same 3 pages a couple of times, and then I tried again, and I went back to those 3 pages, and it took me like I just kept. Like, I really struggled with the writing in this one. And once it got to the time traveler telling his story, I enjoyed it more, like the story part of it, but the narration, like, I did not like the time travel. I found him not only pretentious but very pompous as well. And there's like, so the alloy, I think is what they're called. Um, they're very like childlike, and there was nothing like outright with his interactions with the one woman Aloy that he befriended. There was nothing outright, but he did like say, he kept referring to them as very childlike, very naive and innocent and such. But then he's like, talking about a flirtation with her. And it just, I don't know, there was just something about those interactions that was just like, even though there was nothing outright. And some of the choices he made, it's like, you're supposed to be this very intelligent man, and you're making these choices like you're not thinking through things. Like, no. And so some of the choices he made kind of made me mad and such. And so, yeah, I ended up giving it 3 stars. Like, the story itself, I enjoyed. It was the writing, how pretentious it was, which did fit the characters. And I just really did not like the time traveler as a character. Like, the choices he made and such, I was just like, no. But I did finish it. I made it through, and so that was my first class I was able to tick off, was astronomy for Godseer. So there's that. My husband and I are reading this one together. This is my favorite Nora Roberts book. This is for my herbology class, and it is for alchemy, and that's Alchemical Reiteration, and it's a reread. This is also going to work for Kim from Expedition Through Pages. That game, because we're supposed to read a favorite author, I'm on Team Dryad. That was one of our prompts to read a favorite author. We have less than 100 pages left to go now. We have 91 pages. We'll finish this tonight, no doubt. So I'm just going to talk about it in this Monday Musings and not worry about it next week, because we'll for sure finish this tonight. We've been, reading quite big chunks. It's 450 pages long. But this is my favorite Nora Roberts book. I'm still just enjoying it as much as I have in the past. Though I have noticed rereading her older stuff, she really likes like the alpha male, she really likes to write those alpha male type characters. But this one's one of my favorites, mainly because like she kind of has like, in her old work, she had this for trilogies where you had the three couples and such, and then each book would focus on a different couple. Well, this one is kind of like her trilogies as far as like the three couples and such, but it's all in one book, which I really love. So you're following these three siblings, two brothers and a sister, and the one sibling, it starts off with the sinking of the Lusitania, and their ancestor was a thief, and he ended up stealing this little silver statue. And the guy he stole it from was going to try to procure the other statues, and so he was crossing to follow the lead on the second statue, and then he thought he had a line on the third statue. But these statues, they're kind of a myth in the antiques world and such, even back then. And so their ancestor steals this little statue. Well, it's been in their family generations at this point. He decides he wants to try to get it authenticated and see what's the deal with it, like how much it's worth and such. And he gets duped by Anita, who is our antagonist, and she ends up stealing the statue from him. But like he has no you know they have no way to prove that they had the statue originally or anything like that. And so then they kind of go on this path. They're going to try to get the other two statues. And so in the meanwhile, you're getting other characters, of course, their love interests and such. And I like how all the love interests tie back to these statues and to like the different players and the ancestors and such. It's a lot of fun. And so this third part that we're reading right now is like the heist aspect, trying to get that first statue back. And yeah, I absolutely love it. You know, it spans continents, mostly takes place in New York is where they're at for the majority of it, but like they're in Prague, Ireland, and it's just so fast paced, so much fun. And yeah, I've been really enjoying reading it with my husband. He doesn't seem to love it, but he seems to be enjoying it. And like there's Tia, one of our main characters, she's a bit of like bit neurotic, a bit of a hypochondriac, which makes sense when you meet her mother. But she also kind of has this humor that she'll just say something and it's just funny. And so, yeah, I've been really enjoying. We'll definitely finish this tonight. I wanted to try to finish it last night, but Boo Boo, my old dog, was having some issues and just kept interrupting. And then it was late and we were tired. So we'll finish this tonight, no problem, though. Then let's see here. The book that's not part of Beryllium or Kim's Game or anything like that, I just found it at the little free library and was intrigued enough to start reading it, is The Healing Power of Garlic, Vinegar, and Olive Oil by Gayle, Alleman, MS, and RD. And so yeah, I love garlic, and the only oil we use in our house is olive oil. And then my husband loves vinegar. Like he puts vinegar on his salads and everything like that. And when he's cooking meat, he'll put vinegar in it. And so we already used these, but I just thought it was interesting. It was in a little free library, so I snagged it. I've already read the section on garlic, and I'm now on the section on vinegar, which there's 2 chapters for each. It's kind of talking about like the history of the different things and kind of like the folklore as far as their medicinal uses and such. And then it talks more about like the practical applications in the second chapter for each ingredient. So, and then in the back it has like a bunch of different recipes that you can make with these ingredients. So I've been enjoying it. I really like getting like the history of them. Like garlic goes back like all the way to ancient Egypt, and you can buy a male slave for, I forget what she said, but like you can buy a male slave for a certain amount of garlic, which was crazy to me. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. And yeah, been enjoying this. So I'll continue just to kind of work on that, even though I should be focusing other areas. And then I did start one of the books for my necromancer calling, which the class is inscription, dating intricacies, day of the week in the title. I'm rereading Mandarin Orange Sunday by Angelique Durand for this one. It was funny. We had my family book club discussion, and I was telling them like, yeah, I restarted. Like, I I was gonna read this, and then we were texting, and my sister's like, "Yeah, you guys weren't lying. Like, it really is obscure, and like you can't get your hands on it." And so she's coming up for the 4th of July, and my mom's like, "You can borrow my copy," because I actually got really lucky stuff. My sister was like, "Yeah, they're going like one person has it up for sale for $250." Like, well, yeah, because it's very like it's considered a collectible, it's very like obscure book. And I actually got these. I got them from thrift books. I got this copy, and then they had messed up my order, and so it was just one book, but somehow they ended up sending me this book again. So I gave it to my mom, which I definitely didn't pay. Like I think the lowest Steph saw it for was like $50, and I definitely did not pay that when I got these. I can't remember how much. It's been a while now, but I'm like, yeah, it's very obscure. It's very like I remember when I first read it. Like it's not my type of book. It's very crude, very like sensual, but crude about that like right off the bat she's coming from a one night stand, and such. Um and that's not really my type of thing, but I don't know. Like I remember reading it and I really enjoyed the story of it too. And same thing, like I'm like, wait a minute, I write this when I read it before because it is very crude and very like sexual, but yeah, I don't know. It's like so it's about this woman and her affair with this rock star. Like she's always been really in love with him, like likes his poetry, his music, and ends up meeting him, which we just got to the part where they've met. And then it's kind of their affair. They can't really be together, and so they're having this affair for years and such. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know why I enjoyed it the first time because it's not typically my thing. And right now we're still kind of in that beginning stages. So I'm sure I'll pick up. I'm not very far. I'm only 25 pages in. But we'll finish up the three fates and then this will be my focus. And then I'm just trying to read, each class. So herbology luckily only has two books. But the other book, so the three fates works for Kim Game and then this one, the other book for my herbology calling also works for Kim's game, one of the prompts. So this one is restoration, restorative adoration. Ask a friend for five-star reads and pick one. I wasn't wanting to interact with anybody. It's been stressful. I really didn't want to interact. So I follow Allison on a book break on Storygraph. And so I went and the first five stars that I owned, I took those. And this was one of them. And then for Kim's game, we needed a book with books on the cover. And you can see down here, she has books right next to her. So this will be up next. One, it will finish off my herbology calling, and two, it's doing double duty. So it'll, work for Aurelium and then also for Kim's game, it will mark off another prompt. So I'll have two of the prompts for Kim's game done. So that will be the next one I'm reading for herbology. For my God Seer calling, let's see here which one. I'll probably end up going with the other book that I need for Kim's game, which we needed a book with a weapon on the cover. So I'm going to go with the House Saphir, which you can see there's like daggers and there's arrows and such on the cover. So that works perfectly. It's for Godseer for the class Demonology, which is common demonic dwellings, and it needed to have a house on the cover. So the word house is on the cover, and then even though like you don't see the house, you can see the steps leading up to the front door of a house. So I'm counting this one for that one. And then, like I said, it works for Kim's game. Generally, I don't like to have two big hardbacks going at the same time because I like to read in bed and I prefer paperbacks to read in bed. But I'll have these two going at the same time. And then for um, Necromancy, I'm going to do my other priority read for the month, which is my family book club pick, and that's Hunted by Darcy Coates. As far as Aurelium goes, this is for the shape-shifting class, volume modification. I had to do a coin flip, heads less than 400 pages, tails over 400 pages. I, of course, got tails, and this one's 450 pages. So those are going to be what I'm focusing on this week. And then we'll kind of go from there for what I'm reading next because, yeah, I don't know. So we got these three that will be coming up. And so I'll be able to finish off my books for Kim's game and then get my family book club book read. Like I said, I'm going to finish the Three Fates tonight, so I'm not even worried about that. I'll be reading these two over the next couple days before diving into those. So that's 5 books for the next week that I'm hoping to read and hopefully complete and hopefully start something else. And then coming up, I have a pretty good selection. There's only 2 books that are a little bit bigger that are more time consuming. Past that, I have a lot of fast paced reads and a lot of children's books to mix in there. So I'm going to kind of balance that out. But that will be talking for next week. So I'm hoping I can wrap up these 5 books this week. And then that will be me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books for kind of the last couple weeks of the month, which is a good amount. So we'll just have to see how this month goes because the last few months have not been great. But I'm really looking forward to what's coming up, and that will knock off some of the bigger books as well and just leave me with 2 that will be a little bit slower paced. So yeah, I really still very excited about April and about all these books. I love Aurelium, and I've done really well in the past. Like last semester was the only one where I ended up getting sick. So the last few books I had, I wasn't able to read and I had to spill over into the next month. But past that, I've always done really well, even though I'm doing 3 callings. And so, yeah, I'm very excited. And all the books I've gotten for Aurelium are books I'm really excited about. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can accomplish this week. Don't really have my mom texted me and let me know they're coming down this weekend, this coming weekend. And I was like, I don't know, Mom. So they're going to stop in the little town where we used to live. And there's like an art hop. And so she's like, you could come, and go to the art hop with us. My 2 aunts are actually going to be here. My one aunt, they drive down because she lives up near my mom and they drive down together all the time. But my aunt who lives in Florida is also actually going to be here. So I don't know. They'll be there Saturday and then Sunday they're going to visit my grandparents in the bigger city. And so I probably one of those days go to visit them. Most likely I want to see my grandparents, so I'll go Sunday. But that means, that will be a day where I'm not reading as well. I do need to get some chores done, which I'm planning on doing tomorrow. And then I'm hoping to have a couple days where I can just really push the reading and see how it goes. I would love to know if you've read any of these books, your thoughts on them, or if any of these books are on your radar, or a book you're currently reading that you're enjoying. You can let me know that down in the comments below. If you just want to let me know you're here and you're helping to support my channel by commenting, you can always leave a rabbit or any type of animal emoji. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.